Welcome, everyone, to this episode of Rise with Reis. And today we are going to talk about the idea of beyond the mind, the heart beats, and that really eternal connection that we think of when we think of twin flame bonds and the twin flame journey. And it really comes down to divine love from an essence and a place that is invisible, that transcends all space, times, realities, parallel realities, different dimensions. I always talk about this as liquid love, when you truly crack open to the point that you expand your emotional intelligence. And that meaning the more pain you experience, the more pleasure you get to experience, because our emotions come in contrast and polarities. And, the more we go through, the more we can feel and experience. So, today we're going to talk about this with Reis in the Rise with Reis show, where every week on Sundays, we help you elevate your true self so you can attract your highest match. So, Reis, I want to welcome you back to the show, and thanks for joining us for this topic today of eternal love.
Thank you, Dr. Harmony. I'd just like to say this is our final show in our series. So it's so exciting, but we will be coming back in January the 7th for everyone that are going to link back in with us. It's been a beautiful journey of growth and self-development that we've all experienced through these lives. And I know that you'll all agree. I've grown. I know you've grown, Dr. Harmony. And I just wanted to put that out there because we're talking about love. And there's just so much love around what we're doing here and how we're nurturing ourselves and everyone within, just turning up and being here. So I love the choice of topic today. I feel it is a beautiful connection. And I would say, you talking about the pain barrier, the pleasure and the pain barrier, I feel like really pinpointing that aspect has been really huge for me in my twin flame journey. So a lot of us, we can go into that resistance when we hit that pain barrier, because we go into that struggle and that resistance. And I can just tell you for now that when we break free from that, when we push beyond that, the pleasure, the growth, the journey, all of this that we get out of this is so huge and so incredible. But it's really about taking us back into that heart space. I know you agree, Dr. Harmony.
Yeah.
A lot of us, we talk about those external influences and how we're always looking and how we're always seeking externally. Actually bringing it back to that place of love and seeking the answers within us. And I feel a lot of us, we forget that this historic knowledge is within us, that we have come through many different lives, many different experiences, many different relationships in order to gain the wisdom and the knowledge that actually resides within us. So actually tapping into that part of us, I feel, is huge. And I know a lot of people question this aspect of them. They're asking everybody, a lot of people need that reassurance. They're seeking those answers outwardly. But actually, when we turn that inward and we actually recognize that we are part of this huge God consciousness, that we are part of this collectiveness of love, and we can anchor into this, and really want to use that word anchor, where we can really ground ourselves into this, that we are the divine love, that we are love, then we can really connect with that inner wisdom.
Yes. Yes. And one of the things, I just had talked to a client before, coming onto the show, and she was explaining how she had been working through her twin flame journey in order to really come into the sense of seeing the unconditional love around it, rather than the wounds and the triggers and the mirroring and all these aspects that show that we are not in a place to love unconditionally, basically.
Mhm.
And so I was explaining that that's the point of this journey, is creating the self-mastery that it takes to come into this level of love.
Mm.
And that, takes a while. Like, and I said to her, I said, that's, if it were so easy, we'd all be doing it. But, the point of what we go through is to help us come into this place of being
Mm.
able to do it.
Mm.
And so when we can actually see our journey, see everything around us is happening for us, not to us, that can
Mm,
really help us. And so if you're just joining us, we're here with the Rise with Rays show tonight, and this will be our last episode for this year. We'll be coming back on January 7th with a new series, I should say. This is the last one in the series we've been doing, but we'll be back at the beginning of the year after the holidays to bring you even more love, or ways to love, right? And we're going to do some revamping, so we don't even really know what's going to come through with that. But I think that is an example of a couple things. All right. Number one, we have to love what we do enough to show up here. Right. So when we think about divine love and we think about love and eternal love and the connection with our twin flame and the connection with life and ourselves, let's not forget about why you show up every day. What are
mm,
you passionate about? Those are also things that you love. And what that really means is, when it really boils down to it, the only way you can show up
mm,
as love and experience eternal love is when you become love.
mm,
And that means every day you are a representation of love. You love what you do. Just like I was about to say, like us showing up here is a form of passion, is a form of love, to
mm,
share our light, share what we have to say, what we have to offer. And the reason being, like, what is the why? A lot of times, like,
mm,
why? You know? And it's because somewhere in you, you have to find the fuel within your own flame to be the spark that ignites inside of you what it is you need to be the fuel to continue to show up in this place.
absolutely. And I feel that you're really touching on that at this point of being that love for you, because a lot of people, they're looking for that love externally to fill them up. They're looking for that, they're seeking that, and they're always going to hit that barrier when they come against that, because the love resides within you. And when we can really flip that round, when we can take that back to us and we can really center ourselves, as in, actually, what can I do for me today? How can I love me? How can I show up for me with unconditional love? No
Mm.
restrictions, no boundaries, no barriers. Let me really open up. So if you're one of these people that really lack in self-worth, you really got low self-esteem, really start to question, actually, how can I change this? How can I fill myself full of love? How can I change this? Because this is part of the pain barrier. This is part of that breakthrough. And a lot of people, they don't even question this. They don't question that as not being anything other than normal. And I feel that taking that and shattering that illusion that this is the way of life, this is your limitation, this is all you're going to get, this is a nourishment that you're limited to. We need to break through that. We need to dispel this. We need to actually charge through that, because we are all love. We all come from a place of love. So it's already within you. And it's actually just pushing beyond that and actually challenging ourselves. And I know there is a lot of resistance. This is a journey I've come through. So I'm not saying anything that I haven't actually come through that isn't, something that I know a lot of people connect with, this low sense of self-worth where we doubt ourselves. We have this internal struggle. We feel this pain. And we live with it daily. We live with these thoughts daily, these actions daily that are diminishing everything that we do, from our worth to what we really, truly were worthy of in this existence. So I'm going to really put that back out to you and really challenge this, that there is more, so much more to your existence, so much more to the nourishment that you can have within your relationships, within your career, within everything around you, if you just understand and change that perception. And we talk a lot about changing that perception, shifting that perception. If you're one of these people that apologize for everything, that people pleases for everything, and they're always scrabbling back, take a step back just for today, question it. Just for today, question that and really turn that back in and actually say, what can I do for me? How can I please me? How can I love me and show up? And I tell you, you do this, you hold this in a mantra on a daily basis, things will change for you. They will grow. Things will happen for you in an amazing way. You have no idea. It's
So
changing. Yeah,
One of the
definitely.
things that is coming up to me as you say that is the acceptance that, and we've talked about this in another series about being able to accept who you are, to love who you are, right?
Yeah.
And so I want to point out to everyone that if you're just joining here and you've not followed us, or you haven't known, or you haven't got plugged into the Perfect Inner Work Challenge that we did, that's a 5-part free video series, you can check that out in the link above or below, because it's one of the things we teach in that 5-part series is ways for you to learn how to accept who you are for where you are, which is a point and a piece of this process of coming into, like, I don't have to keep doing all this work to be worthy of love. So it's kind of like, okay, I should be worthy of love for who I am, where I am. But the only way you can do that is to love and honor and accept and allow who you are to now and not judge that person. That is a form of love for yourself that is eternal love for yourself, because it doesn't set you up to feel like you have to be somebody particular, or you have to do something specific to be deserving of love. Now,
Mm.
that being said, the client I was talking about a while ago, whenever we were talking about the self mastery to come into the ability to love this unconditionally without expectations, which is the divine love at its finest, is that when it comes to that level of self-love,
Mm.
or I should say level of divine self-love, it's about coming to a place of getting really vulnerable, getting really open, being able to express yourself. And
Mm.
the key in that, what I'm saying in that, is being strong enough to accept yourself, to be vulnerable enough to open yourself up, to be seen, felt, heard, loved. Okay.
Mm.
And this is where the majority of the wounds are in the feminine, because the feminine, and it doesn't matter if you're male or female, the inner divine feminine within the collective has been very wounded to the point where we suppress ourselves, which is how we can't experience love
Mm.
or feel love or share love, because we have built walls of protection and we've put up barriers and boundaries that has protected us from actually getting what it is we want. Because that's what happens most of the time, is people want to be loved or they want to experience love, but they're not open to receiving it because of their history, their, where what they've been through. And
Mm.
so back to my self-mastery comment that I made a while ago about, loving unconditionally without expectations is self-mastery. So something I would recommend people to do is take a look back, and you said this too. When was the first time, and what made you not feel worthy or like you deserve love, or why you don't feel like you can, or are good enough to have what it is you want, or to be with the person you want? So when you can go back to where this started, which is usually in our childhood, it can definitely be past life things too,
Mm.
and karma and all these things, but we've come to a place where it's kind of like the patterns and the programs and the ancestral wounding and all these things. It's, go into this life. When's the first time you experienced yourself shutting down? I'm going to ask you this, Reis. When you close your eyes, we're going to demonstrate with this. We kind of did something like this before, but it's coming through. Okay. So I want you just to really connect to your heart. And anybody else can do this for themselves that are watching in the future or watching now. I want you just to really close your eyes and connect to your heart for a minute. And I want you to begin to feel your body, feel your senses, feel the ability to listen to your body, listen to your heart, listen to your emotions. And now, when it comes to the idea of you not feeling worthy enough, good enough to experience love from anyone, it links to not feeling that within yourself because you're not listening to yourself. But that being said, Reis, what's the first emotion that comes to your heart when I say, why are you not worthy or good enough to feel love or to be loved?
So the first feeling that would come through is abandonment.
When was the first time you ever was abandoned in this life that you can recall? Don't allow it to come from your mind. Let it come through you. Let you feel it. Let your body, your emotions, your mind, your body speak to you.
So I'm always taken back to a place of when I was so young and I didn't have the perception to think, only feel, and I knew things weren't okay. I could feel they weren't okay, and they weren't. My parents were divorcing, and I didn't receive the nourishment and love and security that I deserved at that point. And the abandonment, the feeling of not knowing what was coming next or who was going to be there.
So now let me ask you this. So in some ways you felt betrayed and rejected by not receiving what you needed as a child. And you said you didn't feel nourished, right?
Yes.
That was kind of a key thing, not feeling nourished, not feeling nurtured, right? Okay. Now let me ask you this. This just came through. I didn't plan this. I was going to take you on another journey, but we're going on a different one. Because I want to link this back to the essence of the divine love or the eternal connection we can't see, we talked about. You know, it's believed that we choose our parents for our major life lessons to help us become who we came here to be. And the relationship we have with them has been the relationship we've had with other people. So for us to have functioning, loving relationships, for most of us, we've had to go back and heal the wounds with our parents, right?
Mm.
But what if you were to look at the divine essence of this love, that you got exactly what you needed from your parents
Mm.
because you signed up to experience it with them? You signed up for this experience in a soul contract that said, I would go through this experience to be betrayed, to not feel nurtured. So, on the flip side of that, I could not know what it feels like, so I can strive to learn what it feels like in this life. Right?
Mm. So
So,
I'm being shown my parents are my children. They are my
mm,
children, and I've had to come to a place of wholeness, unconditional love, acceptance, and peace, and nurturing for them. And I see their souls
mm.
and their lights as vulnerable children. And now I can use that to help them with their journey. I feel that they've given me this in order for me to help them grow.
Can you see how that technically is a gift to come in with something you didn't get, to learn how to get it, to give it back?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
technically they were wounded children too, and they didn't receive that, so they didn't know how to give it to you to begin with.
So
But to see the innocence in them.
my heart now is open to unconditional love, forgiveness, love for them. As I see them as children, I see their vulnerability, their innocence within them.
Can you see that what you just described was what you wanted as a child?
Mm.
Now, can
Yes.
you see that that child that you see in them is actually the child in you that didn't
Yes.
get it?
Yes.
And so now, what would you tell that child that didn't get it then? What would you tell that child now from you?
You're so safe. You are so loved beyond anything you can imagine. And just feel that, and I can feel that within me. This is beyond words. The feeling is so huge.
And when love is beyond words, that's when it's beyond the time, space, and reality that we can't put. That's what I call it, the liquid love you can't put into words, right? But that's where this whole idea of divine love being the essence of a reflection of the divine in us, right?
Mm.
That we are that reflection of the divine. And while we can look at that same, now let's flip that around to, say, your twin flame journey and the times that you didn't experience what you needed to from your twin flame. How does that make you feel? And what can you change through this idea of his own inner child wounds?
Mm.
And how can you love him unconditionally, accept him for where he's been?
By loving myself unconditionally.
And how would you do that in this scenario and not like just from a place of flipping a thought, feeling, and emotion, not like the daily practice we think of in self-love, because that's so easy but yet hard to do, but like just from a simple kind of idea, how can you turn this around through an emotion in this given moment?
Forgiveness.
And what about being able to see through that from a place of not just forgiveness, but innocence?
Purity.
And the innocence of, again, no different than the children, he's dealing with his own childhood wounds that is showing up and mirroring your wounds, right? Which is all your parents were doing as well.
Mm.
And now, how could we transmute this lower vibration into a higher divine essence of being able to see? And let me just say this. So, the point of this show is about the invisible bond of love, right? So, this is a form of love that's invisible that you can't see that someone loves you just because they're doing something bad to you, or it feels like they're doing perceived as bad, or could be physically bad. Because I know you've had a lot of beating and, you've went through a lot of, even physical abuse, right? That is not something we perceive as love, right? But in the context of experiencing that, and the fact that these experiences have taught you to be who you are, on some form, level, or shape, you coming into the gift of yourself that this experience has given you is a form of love that's invisible. How would you describe that?
You can't. You can't. You feel it. But I know that it shifted when I opened up ready to receive. When I say I'm ready to receive now, I'm ready to receive my worth.
And how would you go forward using this feeling that you can't capture? It's an invisible bond. How do you bring that into your reality to put it into practice every day? That's another thing. How do you see yourself going forward?
I use myself as a mirror within everything I see in the day-to-day, instead of blaming or going about everything. Is actually turning it around and being what you want to see out there, being that light, being that hope, being that radiant beam of love that everybody needs to feel that connection. So you be it, you show up and you be it, and others will follow, others will be guided, others will grow in that light.
What else would you like to share with us?
Be open to love. Just be open. Open your heart. And just take a breath. And just really feel it. And in that moment, it will come. Just trust in the process, because we're all here together, all on this journey of love. And we are all finding our way back home to this place. Just bring that trust into your heart, and it will show you the way.
Beautiful. Whew.
I really need to bring tissues. Beautiful. Yeah.
All right.
Ah.
So we're gonna take and, if anybody has any questions, if anybody would like to share their experience of what we just did as well, please share with us any journey you went on and anything you felt either here live or in the future. But let's take some comments and questions. I know we had some in our Facebook group too that we're going to answer from the Facebook group that we're going to
Mhm,
cover. But on the flip side of that, if you've not got plugged into the Facebook group where we're in there helping people with assistance through this journey, this ascension journey, and on the twin flame journey, make sure to get plugged in the link above or below, whatever
mm,
platform you're on, so that you can connect with us there. We're actually about to tip into, like, I think we only have maybe like 8 to 10 people left having that of making that 500. And we were just kind of chatting back and forth in the last today, your night, my day, whatever, however it was going, how close we were and how much, like, when we hit those kind of milestones of how much of a breakthrough it shifts the collective energy, even in a group like that. So if you're not plugged in our group, we'd love for you to get plugged in so we can also tip that over that 500 mark, preferably by the time we get off of this show. So,
mm.
so anyway, you want to go ahead and
Yeah,
start with
yeah.
some of the, let's see here. We'll start with some of the comments and questions.
Okay. Thank you, Nats. So I think I'm in the pain barrier, but not sure how to get back. I feel like there's a wall that doesn't let us absorb the other person's love. We used to be able to feel it so freely. Okay.
So one of the things, and I'm just going to read into the energy of that a little bit because there's so many layers to that question, and there's so many possibilities, and there's so many like could be's or things that like maybe you need to work on within that. But I would
Mm,
say based on what we just did, you need to go back to the beginning of the first time you put your wall up and to feel out and see where you put this wall up and then how putting that wall up has been following you with every aspect of connection. And if you go back to where you put the wall up and you can see it and feel
mm,
it and heal it and understand why you put the wall up, then you're going to be able to open yourself up and let down that barrier so that you can move past the wall, so to speak. So, you want to add anything to that, Reese?
yeah, I'll say just the wording. I think I'm in the pain barrier while we feel when we connect to our emotions. And it's showing that you're really repressing them here. You're really struggling. And what we talk about is getting really stuck into this. And I know it's hard, but diving into that pain is the quickest way you're going to experience growth. And a lot of us can feel that resistance. But go back and do this exercise that Dr. Harmony just taken me through. Do it every day. Do it as many times as you can and connect to yourself, connect to your feelings and do it. And you will have that breakthrough. I feel that when we have that resistance and we're struggling, we get the biggest breakthrough. So there is light at the end of this tunnel for you. There really, really is. But when we dip into that polarity and we dive in, that pleasure pain, we get out of it when we come back out of it and we're on the up. There is hope for us. And the reason why we resist it so much is because of that pain, because we're scared about what we're going to find when we get there. And trust me, when we get there, it's not that bad. We come back out of it. We open ourselves to love. We open ourselves to the emotional growth, and it's so beautiful, so beautiful. So
And that also kind of linking that to our topic is, when the true essence of a way to love that you can't see the connection or the bond because this is transcending time, space, and reality to connect and love in that way
mm,
for
mm.
ourselves and other people. Okay, I
So
think this is
shall
more
I
just real
shall I do
life.
my Facebook group
Yeah, let's
question?
do that too. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's do that.
So this is from Tina. And she says, I'd love to know how to learn to trust or have faith that my twin and I will get back together. When in the 3D, it seems almost impossible. And therefore, I have difficulty believing it will happen. I have surrendered and don't control anything, but my faith isn't as strong as I would like. Thank you.
So I'm going to respond to that, and there's multiple viewpoints on this, and so everyone's different, and this is a personal journey. So everyone may have a different viewpoint of this based on your journey. But what I can, so this is where I think in the mirror reflection of this, you will have to kind of put yourself in a situation of, is this me or is this not me in this reflection? So one of the things I have to say about my journey of this is, and what I have taught people, and that's a little bit even different than, say, Reis's journey, because we've different people, we have different journeys and different ways to arrive. And this is the point I'm saying. But I think a piece of this is coming into the realization is this whole twin flame journey is more about the process, not the person. It's about the inner love you have for yourself. It's about you embodying divine love. And anytime you hang on to the idea that it's going to be this one person, it's going to, like, it doesn't look in reality and all these things, then you're pulling out of alignment with what is truly meant for you. Because while we're going through this journey with this push pull, that's really only inside. So the runner chaser is not about a person, it's the runner chaser is in you. And the minute you stop running and chasing within yourself of everything ping ponging back and forth between your own inner masculine, your own inner feminine energies, then you come into more wholeness in yourself, then you raise your vibration, then you elevate to a higher consciousness, a higher way to love, higher connection, and you then, through the laws of the universe, will attract the match that matches you from that place. So when it comes to faith in that, and feeling like I'm stuck on this one person and I'm going to have faith in this, the thing is, I don't think it's about how much faith you have in you being with that person. It's about how much faith you have in yourself to know that you can create what you want, no matter who the person is.
Yeah, you've really touched on that. Faith is internal. It's not something externally we seek. It comes from within, and we can shift that. We can change that. And I get a lot of that. People say, I've lost my faith. I've lost faith. How do I feel faith? And I tell you what, just go within, connect to that love, do this exercise, connect to your heart center, go somewhere that makes you feel love within you, you know, the seaside, go somewhere that opens your heart, go somewhere that can connect you to that place, and go within and find that faith within. It's there. It's there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Okay.
So
So we have some more
next
here. Let's see.
one
Heidi here.
is, hi, Heidi. So painfully true, harmony and Reis.
Yeah.
So thank you. And R18 Soul Tribe. I just talked about having to learn how to receive everything,
Yeah.
always in flow, everything. So how are you going to go out and receive for today? I want to put that question back to you, R18. How are you ready to receive? If you do you want to pop anything in the comments? I'd love to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good question. I think that goes back to what we said about when you have the walls up a while ago. It not only are you not able to fully engage, interact, and give, but you're not able to let that love, that divine love, permeate through you because of your protection mechanism. So a piece of that is how, I even said this, how go back to where you stopped receiving, go back to where you put the wall up and why you put the wall up and what was happening and what experience was going on and what is it you can learn from what happened. That when you see that and how that links to every other area in your life and how you've created a pattern of not receiving, only then can you let the wall down and understand how you can open up. Otherwise, you just keep going through the layers of it.
So true, Crazy Lion. Hello there. Hi, Dr.
Welcome.
Harmony. Hi, Dr. Harmony and Reis. Great to see another live stream. Thank you. I'm very open to the possibility of connections, but with other souls, which we feel in this life, but which go back further. It's fascinating.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
I know we talked on our previous live about past lives and there. So
Yeah.
you're definitely on a journey. So Heidi, I totally relate to this about the healing with our parents and all the unresolved intergenerational traumas. Yes. Yeah. And this is very
It's so powerful. That's why everyone's doing that inner child work, or with their parents and ancestral wounds that came through. This is why.
Okay, so true crazy line. That's awesome clarity of vision you're showing here, Reis. Wish I could access and express my soul feelings so well and so quickly. And Dr. Harmony is a great guide. She is amazing. Feeling privileged to see this. I would say, true crazy line, that this is about connection and going within and regularly checking in with yourself and doing this work. And it's a journey. And this isn't something that I could just access straight away. This is something that I've allowed myself, and it's about being open and allowing yourself to go into that place of trust. And I feel that that's part of the resistance, is that we don't trust what we're being shown. So we then go into that place of repression. So if you just sit with it and you go into that connection, you really trust, and you trust what's coming through, you can connect with it just as easily.
And I just have to say that, so the other piece of this is about surrender.
Mm,
Surrendering to the emotion, submitting ourselves to the feeling, that
yeah.
only then can we truly understand what this essence of invisible love is anyway, with these bonds that we have. That going through the bond with the loss of this twin flame journey is how you actually learn how to appreciate and love it to the level you do on the flip side of that.
Mm,
Without one, you can't have the other, like we were talking about the emotional aspects of that. But Rays, we've talked about this before. And so one of the things, before I bring this up, I just want to say at how great a guide Rays also is, because of her having went through this path of learning how to shift from her head to her heart, opening up. That's how you know how to help other people do the same, because we couldn't be here doing this had we not experienced it to the level we work with people with. So that being said, I just want to remind everyone that Rays is available for sessions, and you can find her booking link in the link above and below. She also offers a program, and so she also has a free clarity call that you can check out also in the link above or below, that you should definitely get plugged into if you feel you need the guidance, because we all have blind spots. That's
mm,
why, even as coaches, we need coaches, right, Rays? We
absolutely.
have our own coaches to do these things too.
We
We
do.
do. And
Mm,
so that being said, I just wanted to bring up your experience where you didn't feel the anger, and I told you it was there, and like
oh,
how that was a pivotal point for you. Do you want to we've shared this a couple
yeah,
times
yeah.
before, but this is so powerful.
And this all ties into our content. So I actually had a one-to-one with Harmony last year, where I have spent a lifetime of being told and being made to feel that I can't be heard. And this comes right back from childhood traumas. Now, to me, you never stop working, and you never stop being brought into your awareness when you seek that out. And this is part of what I got from connecting with Harmony, connecting with this source. And she showed me and gave me the safe space to release. And did I release? I think I had snot all over my face, tears, and I screamed, and I got all of that trauma out. Now, I released on a level that I didn't even know that I could. I didn't even know that I had so much of this pain that was still stuck within me. And I needed that guide to show me, to help me release. Now, this is something that I've also done for others within their session. I've given them the space to be heard, to be free. And this is what it really did for me. And honestly, the feeling, the lightness, the growth. Now, I was going through a period of getting ready to emigrate to Australia, and we were doing a mass shift, a mass cleanse. And I really feel that this is what you've got to be aware of, that we can't do this on our own. We're not meant to do it on our own. So reach out, connect. If you feel safe, you feel comfortable, you like the vibe, reach out and connect. It's a beautiful thing for you to do. That's part of your self-worth. And this is something that is part of my journey with my self-worth, is knowing I know the investment with me is worth it. I know that what I put into me, the mentors, the teaching, the programs, the love, is all worth it, because I'm worth it. And this is about your growth. This is about your journey. So that was a big thing for me 20 plus years ago, when I started on this journey, and I needed to take that step, to take that initial leap of reaching out and going, I'm worth this. So yeah, it was so powerful. So incredibly powerful. I felt very flushed out afterwards. A lot of releasing was done, and that was in a session that I've never experienced before. I've never experienced such a profound session that shifted so much within me. It was huge. So thank
Well,
you for
and I
that.
think a piece of what you're saying in that
Mm,
session, and then also like to help people really understand the power of that, is that giving yourself permission to release that.
mm,
Because on the other end, there's all kinds of resistance to letting go, because sometimes when you're at that breaking point, you also have a sense of you're going to break down, but it is the
mm,
breakthrough, right? And on the
mm,
flip side of that, we can, think of all the reasons why we shouldn't even let ourselves go there, because you had plenty of reasons not to even go there in that moment.
mm. Well, yeah,
Mhm.
even at the beginning, I was saying, "Oh, I can't because I've got my little one asleep. I've got, and there was all these reasons as to why I couldn't, and you were just like, just go, just go, go for it." And in that moment, there was that, do I do this? Do I not do this? And I just went, it's what I'm here to do. It's what I've signed up for. It's what I've connected for.
So I don't
So,
know if I ever told you this, Reis, but I've had a similar session to that, and I have to
mm,
tell you, it took me more than once to get the job done.
mm,
So, like, you've been able to do that, like, as you did, even though you had the resistance, and just letting it out. I feel like it's a Paley
mm,
moment, like
mm,
letting out all the anger, letting out all the suppression, letting out all this reasons, getting out of your head, just going into how you feel. And that's the piece that we want somebody to
powerful.
listen to us, but are we
Mm.
listening to ourselves?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think I was gonna burst a few blood vessels that night. It was so powerful. And, you need guys to help you do that, to help you access that emotion, to help you really reach in and to find that. Because this is what we're talking about, that pain barrier and talking about the resistance. It's actually, if you're struggling to find that, you need those mentors to shine their light and to give you that space for you to grow in. And it's so powerful because you're in that safe, loving, nurturing environment that helps you grow, that's just there to give you that growth and the investments with you. So if you're thinking about it, 100% reach out and
Yeah,
do this for you.
definitely.
So
Okay, so we have
R18, thank you for answering. So you have said, I'm allowing myself to accept that I am worthy, to accept and to know. Absolutely.
yeah, and that would make a very good mantra and
Yeah.
affirmation. Just to, I accept who I am for where I am.
Hmm.
I am worthy of divine love, and just come up with the mantras that resonate with you. That brings power to the energy, that you can transmute that feeling of any barriers of rejection or not receiving and those sorts of things. So, all right,
Mm.
let's see. We have a couple more. Anybody else have any more questions? We'll finish them up
Okay.
here.
So, True Crazy Lion, that's great advice. You've both made good points. Think I struggle to access that state of trust which you're referencing due to not having a safe emotional space where I'm living now, to be honest.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly. And this shows where it's your base energy's out. If you're not feeling safe where you are, you're not feeling safe within yourself. And it's that double edge, isn't it? Are you not feeling safe where you are because you feel vulnerable in yourself, and you shift that, everything else will change around you because the safety doesn't come from external, it comes internal. Yeah, which is
Mhm.
what we were talking about.
Yeah, and I find a lot when I work with clients with this, and even this thing that not feeling
Mhm.
safe to people to kind of express this way or be open this way in an environment,
Mm,
that the environment is the mirror of your own boundary and wall that you've put up to put you in a position to not be able to do it. You see? So, or to feel like you can't do it, because then
mm,
there's always an excuse, right? And so when you can then um, look at it deeper from an aspect of allowing yourself to go into yourself and feel yourself without having to make an apology for it, without having to worry about what other people are going to think, without
mm,
having to worry about who's going to hear you, see you, like all these things, then you are now open to yourself, but you also are trusting yourself, and you're also being super vulnerable in that
mm,
space. And that's what we all fear. We fear being so vulnerable of being seen,
mm.
but that's that feminine side of us that really does want to be heard. So,
Okay.
all
So
right.
Jeremiah, hello Jeremiah. Welcome in. So, unconditional love is a powerful medicine. So glad you are here to impart the medicine for so many on and offline. Absolutely.
Thank
Absolutely.
you. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
thank you, thank you. Okay, so we want to thank everybody for showing up, sharing your light, sharing your love with us, sharing space with us, and experiencing even this divine connection between and through all of us, even here on this live and even in the replay when you experience this, playing it back, that this is also a divine connection. And that being said, we have so many regulars that show up and are so, you know consistent with us weekly to gain this information, to gain this wisdom. We want to acknowledge you. That is a form of love that you feel, and that is the reason why we continue to show up. And as a reminder, even if you're just tuning in, that we are going to, for the holiday, we're going to be taking a break. And we've came to the completion of a series that we set out to do for, since I think about May. And we're going to be back on January 7th, which is still going forward then. Will be Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in New York. And we are going to revamp whatever comes through next for the next series and see what comes
Yeah.
through. But we want to thank all of you for joining us during this series, during tonight, being so consistent, being, just such good support and giving us a reason to continue to show up, share our own shine. So, Reis, do you have
So,
any final comments you want to say?
yeah, can I just add, just stay
Yeah.
tuned to our channel, stay tuned to our content. We have weekly content that comes out every single week. So I show up and do readings. Dr. Harmony shows up and does loads of content. So it's really beautiful. So stay plugged into our channel because we're here. And as Dr. Harmony said, the Facebook group will keep you connected as well to us, where we are there chatting internally. We're there every day and we're doing lives, and our content is there currently. So if you haven't already, get plugged into that.
Yeah, and I want to add, for those of you that just joined, our Facebook group is just a handful-ish away from hitting a 500 group milestone. So if you've not got plugged in, check out the links above and below. You can see how you can work with Reis, book with Reis, either in a session or a free clarity call, in the links above and below. And also, don't forget that we have the 5-day perfect challenge that is in the link above or below. And Reis, you're totally right. And make sure they remember, even if we're not coming back until the 7th of January for our weekly show, that we still have weekly content that's coming out every week. So, and do you want to tell them about your new series you're doing with that? Let's hear that real quick before we go.
With my
About your
reading.
Yeah, she's going to be doing readings that are weekly
Yeah.
readings now.
So I'm really going to be taking people on a journey through their tarot and through angel reading. So if you are thinking about it or that you already do it, it's going to be packed full of content to not only help you empower your journey with your cards, with your intuition, with your insight. It's also going to give you your weekly readings and your forecast. So I'm really super excited because this is so one of my strengths. I love it. Love, love, love it. So really just get plugged
And
into
those
that.
are coming out weekly here on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I had always done Thursdays, shifting to when Reis came in and started doing a weekly show, we were doing Fridays, but I'm looking at bringing it back to Thursdays. So between Thursday or Friday, these are going to be released, and it's going to find its own spot that kind of like will be consistent. But know that that's where you will find this content she's creating, is right here on YouTube, to help you gain more insights through oracle and tarot readings. So I want to thank you all again. Loads of love to you. May you have a great holiday, even though I'm sure we'll see you in another video before the holidays. But may you always face your fears, find freedom, and glow forward on fire. We send you so much love and light and liberation. So let us know how we can support you going forward, and we look forward to that. Bye for now. Bye, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.